If you're like me, you fantasize about going to space. A common fantasy for any kid who grew up watching sci-fi.
Now this is pod racing.
It's vast, mysterious,
and it gets everywhere.
Okay, that's enough prequel references for today. In 2005, 12 ordinary British people were trained by the Russian military to live out this very fantasy in a show called Space Cadets. Just kidding. It was all an elaborate prank.
You just got pranked, bro!
Apparently, I really like talking about bait and switch TV shows, because clearly that's the majority of the content on this channel. Oh well. But hey, if you're into that sort of thing, why not subscribe to my channel? In the future, I'll be exploring different video formats, so be sure to stick around for that. Or, who knows, maybe I'll just keep talking about trashy TV. Anyway, back to this insanely elaborate show. From start to finish, this show thought of everything to ensure their practical joke went smoothly. It's actually kind of impressive. So they took 12 contestants and told them they'd be going to space as tourists, and that they'd be training in a military base all the way over in Russia. Little do they know, however, they're never actually going to space. And they actually never go to Russia, but instead they go to a decommissioned military base in Ipswich, England.
The site was packed with all sorts of interesting buildings. But it needed to be transformed from a derelict airbase into a convincing launch site for a space shuttle.
So, yeah, kinda nuts. And when I say the show does everything, I mean they do everything in their power to convince the contestants this is their reality. I will say, unlike a certain bait and switch show that I previously talked about, Space Cadets is a lot more genuine. I guess that's this British versus American reality TV for you. Or maybe it's just their British charm hides the ugliness of their lies and deception.
So what could possibly go wrong?
The heist starts at the very beginning with a 6-month-long screening process as they look for the perfect contestants. They posted an ad for a reality TV show called Thrill Seekers to find these people.
What is it about me that the public would like to see? They are?
Yikes. They even hire some psychiatrists to do some psychoanalysis.
For this mission to succeed, our space cadets will have to be suggestible. Suggestible people are more likely to believe all that they see and hear.
And they put these potential contestants through physical trials to test them even further.
That was probably one of the most scariest experiences I've ever had in my entire life.
It's important to note that they're looking for people who are interested in space, but not people who know enough about space to unhinge the hoax.
We eliminated anyone whose hobby was military bases or space. This included members of Her Majesty's forces, anyone with training in astrophysics or related disciplines, and of course, anyone who could name more than 4 characters from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
After this long, arduous process, they settle on 12 lucky contestants.
Andrew, Astrid, Billy, Cheryl, Kerry, Louise, Paul, Ryan, Sarah Jane.
And they tell them they're all going to space.
You are about to become the first televised British space tourists.
What?
Needless to say, they're ecstatic like any normal person would be. For all the mathematicians out there, you may have only counted 9 contestants. Well, geniuses, you would be correct. However, I'm not crazy. There are indeed 12 contestants, but 3 of them are planted actors from the show who are there to worm their way into the minds of the contestants.
Actor Charlie, actor Rainey, and actor Steve.
So, yeah, 12 contestants, but there's really only 9. And of the 12 people, only 4 will actually get to experience the quote-unquote space aspect of this heist. First off, there's Rainey.
I've never had so many sore muscles in my life.
Sadly, she doesn't get a ton of screen time, and she doesn't shine as much as the other 2 actors, but she does a good job of keeping the lies up.
I think you could tell this group anything about space, and they would believe you.
Next up is Charlie, who's masquerading as a poet?
Yet!
Sergei Boschov clumps a wizened fist upon the supper table.
He's probably the most entertaining of the three. He even gets a lot of the other contestants interested in poetry too.
12 new faces to the telly screen, given one mission, a gift, a lifelong dream. Envy all around the world, but for us, the lucky 12. Trained up to the highest point, for 4 in space they'll delve.
So clearly he's very committed to his bit, and frankly, I love it.
From way up here, I see hope for the human race.
And last but, well, unfortunately least, there's Steve, who's...
I'm feeling sick.
He got me with his shoe.
I kicked his toe off.
Just breathe normally, you can't do it.
Ah, shit.
Yeah?
Oh, better? Yes. Oh, shit, put me down, please.
Poor guy. Unfortunately, this happens early on in the show.
It's the middle of the night, and all is not well for one of the cadets.
Hi, I'm one of the producers from Channel 4.
Wow.
I've come to take Steve out because obviously he's not very well. We're just slightly concerned with vomiting and diarrhoea. Obviously that's quite highly contagious and we don't want you guys to get ill.
Yeah.
So we're just going to take him off somewhere else.
So Steve's space adventure comes to an early end, and the contestants, although sad, move on with their training. So, rip to Steve.
Well, they basically said that because I'd been away for so long and missed so much training, it'd be unfeasible for me to go back in.
To be fair, all three of these actors do a really good job of keeping the heist up. None of them are suspected throughout this whole process, and you really gotta give them props for it. I can't imagine having to keep up this charade for weeks at a time. I've been saying that this is an elaborate heist. Hell, it's even in the title of this video. But we haven't even begun to get into how much this show thought of. Their attention to detail is commendable, if nothing else. So let's start at the top. It all begins with the plane ride.
Taking off from Biggin Hill Airport, south of London, the plane would travel 200 miles out over the North Sea and then make a very slow, undetectable turn and come back again. 4 loops in 3.5 hours, and our cadets would be at Volgograd, a cold, dark landing strip in the south of Russia.
So yeah, they never go to Russia. They even confiscated their watches
to remove any reference to time.
Next, let's talk about the military base that they use to fool these wannabe cosmonauts.
But in the heart of the English countryside, we found just what we needed. A decommissioned military base from the Cold War. As you can see, there were similarities, but the producers believed their site looked better than the Russians. Job done.
Yep, and they Russify it as much as possible.
The lecture room first came the desks, and the Russian keyboards went in. Every single electric socket was changed from English to Russian. Even the plugs had a makeover. To finish it off, Russian signs were placed everywhere with genuine Russian blue tack.
They even go as far as buying everyday Russian products straight from the motherland.
First stop, a hypermarket of Russian proportions. Our team had to go undercover, as the Russian authorities would not allow them to film. They had to buy everything, from fizzy drinks to toiletries.
And they fill the base with actors dressed in Russian soldier attire. When our fearless cadets land in Russia, they're greeted by intimidating Russian soldiers, and then they're sent off to the base. The next big aspect of the heist is the shuttle itself.
Before choosing 3 of them for the actual mission, where they, along with an undercover actor, will spend 5 days orbiting Earth as Britain's first ever televised venture into space tourism in this shuttle. Sorry.
So the plan is the cadets will enter the shuttle by crawling through a tube, and they'll never actually lay eyes on the exterior. Although, later on in the show, they show the chosen astronauts a glimpse of the shuttle to give them a little taste.
Oh my gosh. To see it, it's real now. That is all real now.
They just play it off like the scientists are really busy and they shouldn't bother them, which is why they can't go in and see more of the shuttle. Now, that's just the beginning of the deception revolving around the shuttle. They hired this guy, who apparently is a big shot Hollywood visual effects guy, and this guy is really into this whole ploy.
Together with his team of engineers and hydraulics experts, they come up with the idea of placing huge airbags on each corner of the shuttle's base.
It gives you that sense of acceleration because you're pushed into the seat back, and when you couple that with movement, it is terrifying.
The last important piece of this shuttle puzzle is sound. Again, they hire a big shot Hollywood sound guy to give this shuttle life.
We're bringing in some new technology, sound technology called ambient sound. We're able to move sound up and down and right over the top of a person's head. So we'll be able to accomplish this right inside the space shuttle. It's the very first time anyone's had it. Steven Spielberg doesn't have it, James Cameron. No one has it, but we have it right here.
And he has some pretty creative methods for creating certain sounds.
One of the segments in this particular program is to create a meteor shower. Dog food and cat food. My neighbors think that I'm crazy.
The host, Johnny, really likes to imitate him whenever he gets the chance, too.
How do you like that?
How do you like that? How do you like that?
It's honestly insane the lengths this show went to make this shuttle experience as realistic as possible. So those are the two biggest ploys that are used in this heist. As you can imagine, renovating a decommissioned military base and constructing a fake shuttle are no easy feats, and they come with very hefty price tags. At the end of this video, I'll show you how much this whole heist cost for Channel 4.
The most elaborate and expensive hoax in British TV history.
To aid the heist, the contestants go through a series of physical and mental training sessions. Every day, they do physical training with a real ex-KGB soldier named Val.
In! Out! Let's go! Move! This is not England. Breathe! Turn around, next one! Down! No time! Move! On street! Wake up! Go!
They all seem to show great admiration for this man, despite what I've just shown you.
Val, say hello to the British public.
Hello, British public.
There's also this stereotype squadron leader who shows up from time to time.
First, you need one of these.
Johnny seems quite fond of his mustache, and he uses it in gags throughout the show.
So the other cadets think Billy lacks basic leadership authority. So look at Billy there. It's easily sorted. Good Lord! It's the mission commander!
The other sessions include having various lectures with some real experts, but mostly actors who are there to mess with the contestants. They state in the show that 80% of what they teach the cadets is true, but 20% is just ludicrous rubbish.
In the words of STAR's mission motto, Eto ni raketstroni, which roughly translated, for any of you whose Russian is rusty, we the adventurers.
A squirrel monkey named Minsky became the first Russian animal to successfully pilot her capsule back to Earth, where she became a national hero. As a mark of respect, we've stuffed her, basically, and put her on display. Minsky's exploits and heroic status led to the naming of the city Minsk in her honor. Did you know that?
No.
An entire city.
Жаба 3. Вам нужны следующие компоненты. 500 грамм хороших свиных сосисок. 1 яйцо, 400 грамм белой муки, 4 столовые ложки свиного рассола, щепотка соли, щепотка молотого шалфея, 200 грамм молока.
Thank you, Val. Very moving, I'm sure.
So as you can see, the actors have a lot of fun goofing on the cadets. They also use some of these gags for the show's advantage.
Coming up with a good cover story to explain why the cadets will not experience weightlessness in the shuttle, the big thing of space travel. Now, hurdles don't come much higher than dealing with zero gravity.
One thing that may surprise you, it might disappoint you, but it makes our life easier, is that it's unlikely you'll experience weightlessness. On this mission, you'll be skirting the Earth's atmosphere, high enough to reach orbit, but still within the reach of Earth's gravitational pull.
You'd think this would be the moment that raised red flags, but all the contestants seem to nod and move along. Even though they seem to have thought of every little detail, they do make a few mistakes. There are definitely a few close calls that almost give the entire heist up.
Pretty amazing what they did, but it looked cool on film, and in this case, in the movie, they did it by building a giant wheel on a stage somewhere in Hollywood.
It wasn't in Hollywood, it was in the UK, it was at Boreham Wood.
Was it?
Right, you are. That's right, most of the film was filmed
Most of the film was filmed in the UK.
Yeah, when you say here, yeah, you mean Russia. Yeah. Because just as Kerry slid in there, she nudged the curtain with her foot, and if that curtain had just moved, she'd just found herself essentially in a big warehouse.
There's even a moment after they take off where one of the pilot's earpieces breaks, so they sneak in one of the producers to fix it while everyone else is distracted. Despite these blunders, the cadets are still blissfully unaware that their reality is being manipulated behind the scenes. The funny thing is, most, if not all, of the contestants have their doubts about the show at one point or another.
I think it's all pretend, really. We're not really right or something.
I just don't believe it. Honestly, I don't believe it. I know he's telling us, but it doesn't seem like actually real.
I think Charlie's a sly one as well. He sort of wants us to all start hating each other. Maybe he's like the little mole.
I look at Russia, I know I've only been here and I'm on a base. It's cold, but it seems to me like England.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a bit cold. It's not...
I think it's a hoax. It's an experiment to see how we react to that situation.
It's crazy how close some of these contestants came to guessing the true nature of this heist. They're so close, yet so far. Charlie, the actor, actually mentions this in the show.
Their brains are shouting and screaming. There's a voice in everyone's head going, none of this is real. It's not real.
I guess that's just the power of gaslighting, Charlie. Halfway through the show, they pick the 4 contestants who are going to go to space. Those contestants are Paul, Carrie, Billy, and Charlie the actor to keep things in line. These astronauts are accompanied by 2 pilots who are actually improv actors.
Also, I'd like to introduce you to our pilots. Mr. Yevgeny Ivanovich there is the flight commander, and his co-pilot is Mr. Drew Dawson.
So they get them in their little spacesuits and they enter the ship.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Solid rocket boosters have ignited. We have liftoff.
Anybody feeling a bit queasy or anything like that?
We're astronauts in 5 minutes.
How long? About 3.5 minutes.
Capcom Crimps to Earth Orbit 1. You may commence your on-orbit operations. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you very much.
They made it, I think.
I actually thought we were still on the ground, and when Drew says, right, we're in space now, I was like, what? Really?
For 5 episodes, these people live in this tiny area together and try to keep sane.
Ablaze with flames and apotheosis of death.
Very good.
Of course, the show also uses this opportunity to tease the astronauts whenever they can.
Hi, we're the crew on Earth Orbiter 1. And next on KVP4, Murder, She Wrote,
is to get the cosmonauts to build balloon animals in the fume cupboard, wearing thick rubber gloves.
And take your completed sculpture out of the fume cabinet.
Hi, we're the first civilian crew on Earth Orbiter 1. And you're watching KL2, Russia's only gymnastics channel.
They even get a message from some famous British daytime TV hosts, and they're all pretty jazzed about it.
Greetings from
Planet Earth. Listen, we just want to wish you guys the best of luck on your amazing space mission. It really has to be the most unbelievable experience. Personally, I am so jealous.
The whole nation's behind you, but it must be scary. Not to mention strange when you heard that even the Queen is following your programme.
Congratulations to all of you, and do come and see us when you get back. And here's hoping that you don't come back down to Earth with too much of a bump.
Good luck.
They get to see snippets of Earth from the cockpit, but they're told they're not allowed to enter the cockpit for safety purposes, so they can only really look at space from this caged area.
But there you go, folks.
It's the world.
That's the world, folks.
Oh my god, you can see land over there.
Unbelievable.
That's what you've been living your whole life on.
It was just the best thing I've ever seen.
It's absolutely amazing. We've just seen the Earth.
I just saw the world.
Meanwhile, back on Earth, aka the other side of the base, the remaining contestants are still sitting around waiting for their peers to return from space. It's time to let these people know what's been going on.
We're not in Russia.
We're not in Russia.
We're still in England.
Where the hell are we? We're still in England.
You're in Suffolk, near Ipswich.
Oh my god!
Paul, Kerry and Charlie, as you probably can imagine, are not orbiting the Earth. They're approximately 300 yards away in a state-of-the-art shuttle simulator.
Did they know that?
No.
If I were them, I'd be pretty jazzed too. I can't imagine the disappointment one would feel if you found out you weren't selected to go to space after vigorous training and also ridicule, and then to find out that it was all a heist must have felt pretty good. Back in space, the moment this show has been building up to is about to unfold.
The cadets are suited and booted, they're in the pod, they think they're about to go out on a mechanical arm to view space, but they're actually going to be carried right here. Hello there, Billy, Kerry, Paul. You've been on board Earth Orbiter 1 for the last 5 days. Congratulations, you've successfully taken part in a TV first, but perhaps, not in the way you've been thinking. The gang's here, it's time to come home.
What? Oh, back off! No! No! Don't fucking open up! Don't open up! Do not open up! Do not open up! Don't you dare!
This is changed.
Oh, no!
Well, that's it, folks. You were never in space. Oh yeah, and there's one more surprise for you.
You're not actually in Russia at all. That's the big thing. No, you're in England, near Ipswich.
Hopefully the contestants weren't too humiliated by this, but they each got some prize money as a thank you. So it's not all bad. I also think it's really funny that at no point do any of the contestants feel nervous about, being blasted off into space.
A complete lack of fear. You really thought you were going into space? Well, me, I get nervous before a flight.
It's crazy to think that they were all perfectly okay with it. These brave souls had no idea what they could have been getting themselves into. This show had some really great and entertaining moments, but if I'm honest, it was pretty dull for the most part. There were a lot of scenes of the cadets just sitting in the lecture room, learning facts that they would never use. But other than that, the show was okay. Despite the elaborate lies, the show doesn't feel as morally wrong as I Want to Marry Harry. At least they're not toying with people's hearts. They just pretended to send some people to space, I guess. And no one seems too chafed about the lies they were fed. Maybe a bit betrayed by their friend Charlie.
Charlie, you little bugger!
But all in all, no one was really hurt. Except Steve, I guess. Sorry, Steve. The lengths they went to prank these contestants was fucking insane.
Oh, my dude, you just got pranked. Bet you didn't see that one coming, huh?
In the end, the total costs that Channel 4 quoted was £5 million, which, when you take inflation into account, is roughly £7.6 million, or $10.5 million US dollars. That's a lot of money for a practical joke, in my opinion. But who am I to judge? Channel 4 later stated that this investment was worth it for them, so congrats, I guess. And with that, that was Space Cadets, television's most elaborate practical joke. Self-proclaimed, of course. If you liked this video, go check out my other videos, and don't forget to show this channel some love by fondling that subscribe button. Bye for now.
Disco dancing with the lights down low.